Kembo. Natatanzambi Yamazulu. Yenge Keno, Yenge family. I apologize for this focus. I don't know. It doesn't autofocus, but it's kind of weird. All right, family. Le Vuvamo. That's what it was. Yeah, stuff up on Campbell, hallelujah. Bayetin Kosi. Uh, all praise to the Most High. First giving Tatanzambi and Pungu Tulendo, Al Congo, all the praise, the glory. Tatanzambi and Pungu, I pray that this message will be received. That anything that tries to block it or interrupt any of the feeds that you will interfere, that the Malekis allow us to hear. You know, this is our time. We are the head, they are the tail, and we must be allowed to express ourselves. And they know that is Abantu Benduela, as Bana Congo, that is our right to be Siemi. And where we are. Nakombo Yota Tanzania Pongo Tulendo Yave Beniawe Ngeta. Giving honor to Yesaya Congo, the Marlon Velela, all the 24 elders, all the elders of Isolele that are righteous, down to Adama, the lineage. Give praise and honor to the Most High for them and thanking us for our family. I had to come on and do this live because, you know, we're all doing a great work. And I appreciate what we're learning, and everybody's doing a great job, and people are learning things. Of course, we're having, you know, some things that we're dealing with. You know, I'm doing this because we forget, I think, sometimes that we're in Kamata. And with that comes all the things of the scriptures that are really assessed to us, but another group of people are taking the credit for. So when I say what I'm talking about is the way the game has changed from Egypt the last time, Kemet the last time, okay, to now, is not only have we been stripped of our identity and put into bondage physically and mentally, but the people that the Most High defeated on our behalf have now become us. Example, Edom, the Hittites, Ishmaelites, and all those have now become the identity of those who are in the captivity. So when they read or when they learn about the history, they associate their faces with and not ours, and so we don't know this. Well, as it says in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Okay. So in order for us to be destroyed of knowledge, there must be those that keep the knowledge. Let's play keep away. The understanding is that with knowledge is power, okay? But the right knowledge can create problems for people, especially for those whose intentions have always been about having a workforce. When you look at the basically how the economic system works, is you have those who are rich, those who are middle class, and those who are poor, and it must be that way in order for the system to run efficiently, and that is the problem. But yet you will have all the people trying to say, oh, we need to help the poor, or the middle class, wealthy need to give more, blah, blah, blah. And you don't understand that a lot of this has to do with the concept of knowledge, of understanding. And I know we've had people break down the word knowledge in Kikongo, what that is, the Goma, the wisdom, okay, Goma, you know, the knowledge of how it works. See me, brother. Well, one of the things that many of us seem to forget in this whole concept of an exodus or a second exodus or a rising of a people is the idea of what we call gatekeepers. And I'm going to use a term that is commonly known by those who are aware of it. And in this environment, we know that there's an organization that refers to themselves as the Boule. Okay. Now, in ancient Egypt, when we were there, and yes, we were there, and no, we were not the Egyptians. We were considered, we were technically the Egyptians because of our affiliation, Kamata, but we were still Isolele. We were Bana Betu of Isolele. Okay. We built that nation just like we're building things today. Okay. In order for this to happen in the leadership roles and those that exist, you must have people in place to maintain the order of things as to how you want it to run. This was done as taskmasters on the plantation. They tricked us into beating ourselves. They tricked us into keeping charge of ourselves. We could run the plantation, and the slave master would have no problems. He knew that the system was intact. When it came time to realize that this system needed to evolve and the things that were happening with it, and of course they needed to have the war was actually more of a sacrifice to the gods rather than, and of course causing Bana Betu to sin more so than what they told you in the history books because they don't give you the full story, is that it was the transitioning of a nation to another level to where the system was now ready to go to a more linear system of workmanship, where our people can now work in a system that was set up to make workers, contributors, people who want to contribute in order to build something, okay, and using knowledge of certain things to justify it, okay. So when we look at the issues that we're dealing with in this Bantu awakening, one of the things that Massa had to deal with, and this is Moses, the one that you know brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, Kamata, were the taskmasters, were the gatekeepers, if you want to say, that when the Most High sent him to free his people, there were those who claimed that they didn't want to leave. And I'll get into that here in a minute, why that is. Because the environment that they were in, and this is the mistake that everybody don't understand. Just like today, not every Bantu or Bakongo that was in Egypt was building the blocks, was doing the labor. But you had those that were set up to keep those who were doing the litter in line. Okay. One of the ways they did that was knowledge control. Okay. Keeping people unaware of their identity, or not necessarily identity, but keeping them unaware of the scriptures of what they're. Some people knew their time would come to leave. Other people didn't want to stay. They wanted to stay. You can tell this was true because when we did leave, they wanted to go back. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. And I'm going to read this to you, and this is going to give you an understanding. Okay. The word boule, according to the Kikongo, is blue in color. But it also, you hear about the blue line or whatever, you hear about that a lot. in this world, and you hear about the blue standard or whatever you want to call it, it actually comes from us, the Bana Betu of Isolele. Just to give you an idea, it says the English is the Israelites were to make fringe edges upon the skirts of their garments and to put a blue string around the fringe edge of the skirt. So the translation, Unzambe kulombaka bantu ya Israeli na kusala malenda na bansongi ya bilele na bompe na kutula nsinga ya bule na konso dilenda. But it also, the word boule is higher level to determine height or above. Okay. So when we talk about the boule system, it is the concept that there are those who are above a group of people that are placed there to be in a position where they were being allowed to enjoy certain levels of society that other people may not get to experience. Okay? If you go back into the history of America and the U.S., when you look at those who were achieving different things at a high level as African Americans, or they called us colored or whatever have you, black, normally these people came from an environment where they were in high esteem. They were considered those who really bought into what we were being told after slavery. All right. And the concept is to still keep, and this is what, Malcolm, same brother, peace and blessing. The understanding is kind of what Malcolm talked about when he was doing his speech about the house Negro and the field Negro. And when he used to mock the pastors and those who were in his time. And of course, the understanding that they were trying to make you aware that there was a system in place of mindset control. This was the first person that did this was Harriet Tubman. She might not be the first, but they actually had to change her name because she had a Hebrew name. When she said, I could have freed more people if they only wanted to leave their minds. She's talked about that. Then you have someone like Marcus Garvey. Okay, he said something similar, just like that happened. And you have to ask this question: why is this such a big deal? Why is it so controversial when you want Bantus or Bakongo, or that we know ourselves to be, or Negroes or black people with knowledge? Okay. Ungubani, we've learned that. Know thyself. Okay. It's Kikongo as well. Bantu. What is the significance of this? Well, when you go back to the times of Kamata, the taskmaster yes, it's still working. The taskmaster or those who were put in charge of a hierarchy, their goal was to control knowledge. Now, how do you get knowledge? You go through a school system, right? A learning system, one that teaches you different things. In this land, And this kind of goes to help you understand that when we're teaching this awakening, one of the things that was very, very much a part of Yesaya Kuswa was his ability to teach the levels according to their understanding. To make those who were high up in the government to get the point, and to get those who really didn't know much to understand the point. Okay? And one of the things that they do in this country is dictate knowledge. What you get to know, what you don't get to know, what stays in secret, what comes out to the public. Okay? This has always been the MO of any society that has ever existed. Even in Isolele, where the priests were the keepers of the knowledge, and their role when they talked to the Most High was to portray the correct knowledge to our people to grow spiritually, which obviously, that didn't happen because we have the problems we're dealing with today. Okay? One of the things that has always been the way you can manipulate people is through worship, right? What do you worship? How do you worship? What do you believe in? Your belief system. Okay? How do you believe? What do you believe? The validity of the belief, the false and the truth. Who determines what's false? Who determines what's true? Okay, this is all about the concept, because when you have people that want to be in power and in control, the understanding that what they know can't be what you know can't be what they know. Okay? The gatekeepers of the knowledge. And I'll go into even something that I found here online that's out of the UK. It's called Kingdom Dominion. Okay? Banner.org. Funny how I talk about the banner. Okay? And what it talks about is that with spiritual warfare, it says, an Egyptian gatekeepers is a gatekeeper who is one who guards portals or gates to other dimensions. Wait a minute. Say what? Gatekeepers use keys or symbols to open or lock gates. Okay? Now, Siemi, Yenge. When we talk about the knowledge of the Most High, remember it is through revelation. He operates through portals of knowledge, keys to unlock, downloads, uploads. Your prayer is going through dimensions of travel to him. He's on a different plane than us. If he wasn't, you could see him. Okay? The concept of the spiritual world means you will also be on his plane at the same time as you are on your plane. Hence the reason, spirit, and in truth. When you deal about people who want to control knowledge, especially for our people, this is something that cannot be. Okay? Because then you no longer want to be in the system that has put you where you are. But in order for that to happen, you must use those who have spiritual power to keep you in line, even though they make you believe you also have spiritual power. So when we say knowledge, especially in the Bantu awakening. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Meaning, you do not have the knowledge to be in the plane of the Most High, while at the same time you are on the plane of the consciousness, the physical realm. But there are those who are gatekeepers that this is what they do. They operate on the spiritual and physical plane with the knowledge that they have in order to block the connection. And many of these people they use are Muntus, Bana Betu, Bana Congo. Hallelujah. Identity thief. This is the so-called sorcery that you find in the Kabbalah. Exactly. You have to understand, the Most High has gatekeepers of his own. He will not release knowledge to you unless you are deemed worthy of it. Remember, you must say, this is how they do it all the time. You hear it in the movies. You are not worthy. You are not worthy of the knowledge. You are not worthy of this. You are not worthy. Okay? Even in those that operate in certain societies, they always give you different levels of knowledge in order to be able to comprehend what you're living in. Okay. So, just like when it comes to Bantu spirituality, Bantu knowledge, Bantu understanding, Benakongo, even Simon Toko understood this. You have to teach the understanding of what people can comprehend in order to get them to the next level, right? That is where the initiation comes in, of being a disciple, of being an apostle, of being connected to the Most High. Because once you receive Christ's consciousness, as it's called, you now operate in the full authority of the Holy Spirit. Meaning, you have unlimited power. This is a problem for those who are trying to be the power of this world, to be in control of everything, to be able to manipulate what you know and what you don't know. But in order to keep people from knowing, they must put people in place in charge of the knowledge. You can know this, but you can't know this. You can do this, but you can't do that. Okay? And whatever knowledge we choose to use to help people understand the world that they live in will be vetted a certain way, so that those who have the power will never use the advantage. This is what was happening in Kamata with the Bana Congo. Now we know Masa, thanks to Ayaya, was well versed in the knowledge of Kamata. Masa knew things in different levels. Yesaya Congo Kuswa was the same way. He knew things. He had knowledge. He had understanding. Because he operated as what we now call the Ngunza power. Why was he such a threat? Because the establishment kept the knowledge. That's why he even said they kept the knowledge from the children, the bread, what they needed to eat in order to be connected to the Father, because it was not about helping them, it was about control. The Sanhedrin, the priests had turned it into the law, was used for control. We see this even in societies today. Laws are really meant for control. However, those who made them operate under a different standard. They really do. Okay? So when it came to putting us in chains, when it came to putting us on the plantation, when it came to then putting us into the normal workforce, the understanding was the knowledge we received was never to be enough to where we could be above those who run the system. But they were using the knowledge that was taken from us to keep that in place. Now, of course, the Most High made it to where there were those who were never going to be susceptible to this knowledge, and they remained hidden from sight. Okay? Why is this important? Because when you know what others don't know, there's a power struggle. Now you're on a level from those who have knowledge who you're never supposed to have it. This is a threat because it's about money, it's about wealth, it's about prosperity, it's about taking advantage of those with the intent to destroy you spiritually and physically, for those who really know the agenda. They're not building your spiritually, they're trying to destroy you spiritually by making you think you are spiritual. This is what we call the matrix that you're plugged into. The unseen powers that have an agenda, and that agenda is to control what you believe, to control what you think, to control what you know. It's to script out what they want you to understand, to tell the teachers and the people that run the show, this is what they will learn, this is what they will not learn. And it varies about where you're located. If you're a certain environment, you're going to know more than those in another environment, depending on the agenda that is there. There's a reason why there's what they call a come up is in places where there's a lot of poverty. The matrix is controlled by the shadow government. The one that you were warned about with Eisenhower when he left office, the military industrial complex, those who run the businesses. Okay? What JFK got a bullet in the head for when he started to talk about it. We live in a system that they know the truth, but they won't tell it to you. So when the truth starts to come out, it's a problem. It's a problem. Because it's always been about power, wealth, control of resources. The haves and the have-nots. That our brother put it in code in his show. Okay, it was coded why he did that. The haves and the haves do not think like the have-nots. Their goal is to maintain power, status, control, to be above the rest. But making you think you have the opportunity to do the same thing when you have to be chosen. And this is how the gatekeeper is used. The gatekeeper is chosen who is worthy and who is not worthy. So when it comes to the lives of the Bana Betu, the Bana Bilaka, the Bena Congo, when we say these words out of our mouth, you're already a glitch. When you say the name Simon Toko, you are already a glitch. When you say Kimbangu, Kempavita, all these different names, you are already a glitch. Because the gatekeeper's job was to keep you from knowing who you are. Correct. So everything in this world had to become a distraction. Even the history that you're told. Even the knowledge that you've been given. Even the way you have been taught how to worship. Hallelujah. I'm about to go into the book of Joshua. Okay, real quick. Here's what Massa was dealing with when he went to go to the Pharaoh to set his people free. And remember, in order to free Bana Betu, you must become Tatanzambi to the authorities. This is when the world's going to see the truth. When the Most High becomes those who know the truth, it exposes the lie. This is revelation. This is what 2 Thessalonians is talking about. When the man of sin shall be revealed, is when the knowledge of the Bana Betu becomes known. The changing of the guard, as I talked about it. We rise, they fall. The boule becomes back. The blue, the fringes and everything go back. The Hebrew Israelites gave you some, but not all. There's a reason for that. All right, so here we go. Book of Joshua. This is why this book was kept out. Okay? We go to where it talks about it. This is their gods, people. All right. And in those days, Moses was feeding the flock of Luel, the Midianite, his father-in-law, beyond the wilderness of Sin, the wilderness of Sin. So that was Shaitani's land before, because that was his name. And the stick which he took from his father-in-law was in his hand. And it came to pass one day that the kid of goats strayed from the flock, and Moses pursued it, and came to the mount of Tatanzambi to Horeb. And when he came to Horeb, Tatanzambi appeared there unto him in the bush, the burning bush, and found the bush burning with fire, but the fire had no power over the bush to consume it. And Moses was greatly astonished at this sight. Therefore the bush not consumed, and he approached to see the mighty thing. And Tatanzambi called unto Moses out of the fire, commanding him to go down to Kemet, Egypt, to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to send the children of Isolele from his service. Israel they call them. And the Most High said to Moses, go, return to Kemet, for all of those men who sought thy life are dead. And thou shalt speak unto Pharaoh to send forth the children of Isolele from his land. And Tatanzami showed him to do signs and wonders in Kemet before the eyes of Pharaoh and the eyes of his subjects, in order that they might believe that the Most High sent him. And Moses hearkened to all that Most High commanded him, and returned to his father and told him the thing. And Reu said to him, go in peace. Moses rose up to go to Kemet, and took his wife and sons with him. And he was at the inn in the road, and the Maleki of Tatanzambi said, go down. And he sought an occasion against him. And he wished to kill him on account of his firstborn son, because he had not circumcised and had transgressed the covenant which Tatanzambi had made with Abana. For Moses had hearkened to the words of his father-in-law, which he had spoken to him, not to circumcise his firstborn before he circumcised him not. Okay? And Zipporah saw the Maleki of the angel, the Tatanzambi, seeking the occasion against Moses. She knew this thing. Now, what is the Most High saying here? There was an occasion where Moses was allowed to not go along. Why was he doing this? This is the problem with knowledge and power. You can think you know the Most High's laws. You can think you know the knowledge. You can think you know the truth, but the Mwanda Velila trumps it all. The Maleki, you're going to say, well, is this Maleki false? Gave him instructions. In this world, the instructions you get determine how you act. The knowledge is controlled. Again, there's a gatekeeper here. This is a gatekeeper saying, hey, we need to kill this son because they transgressed the law. And the Maleki fought against the person who said, you have transgressed the law of Abraham. Wait a minute, where did the law come from? Moses hadn't gone to the mountain yet. So you see, there was already gatekeepers in the land. And you see this happening even today among our own people, the gatekeepers. Oh, it's the law, the law, the law, the law, the law. the law of the land, the law of this, the law of that. When the Mwandan Velala, the Holy Spirit is the law automatically. Why do you think they don't want people to know this in Jasher? Now they say, oh, well, it could be false doctrine. Well, you never know. But the point is, who do you obey, men or the Most High? Obedience to the Most High, you automatically fulfill the law. All right? So now, Moses and Aaron came to Egypt, the community of the children of Isolele, and they spoke to them all the words of the Tatanzambi, and the people rejoiced in exceeding great rejoicing. Okay? The community of them. Now remember, the gatekeepers are not always in this community. If you know the history, this is the issue. The Moses and Aaron rose up early, and they went to the house of Pharaoh, and they took in their hands the stick of God, the Inkisi. They called the Inkisi. And when they came to the king's gate, remember there's a gatekeeper there. There's a gatekeeper. You can't just come in, right? 2 young lions were confined with iron instruments. No person went in or out, came in from before them, unless whom the king ordered to come. When the conjurers came and withdrew the lions by their incantations, and this brought them to the king. So, whoa, hold up. Michael, hallelujah. Yeah, welcome. Okay. When the lions were in the possession of the Egyptians or the Kemetis, to get them to do what they want, they use the woo voodoo, conjuring. You see this happening in circuses even now when they train them. You see this in the show, The Magic, Siegfried and Roy. They use this magic on the spells on the animals. They train them up in a certain way. But this is knowledge that they're using that other people don't have. How to control things that don't, hypnotizing, hypnosis. See, many of our people today are under hypnosis with those who have the knowledge, which is why when you bring other knowledge, it's a problem. Big problem. So when you look at Bana Betu in the diaspora, there are those under some heavy witchcraft in the hood, but there's even more heavier witchcraft on those as you go higher. Because in the hood, they can see there's a problem with this. We don't, look how they're treating us down here. And up there, you say, oh, well, you can rise up like the way I did. Pull up your bootstraps. Is it really how that happened? Or were you chosen because you went along with the system a little better than they did? Or they were meant to be in that position for the come up, as they call it. I got to get my come up. They want you to have to be impoverished so that you look for all kind of ways to come out of that, the come up. Okay? They do this in sports all the time. I've seen it. But they make it look like, oh man, You helping this young man out to do better than the hood is. Wait a minute. What about the rest of the people, though? Are they insignificant? They always talk about the bad apples and the good apples. Why do you think they use that analogy? This is Luciferian talk. Exactly. You don't understand. And then you go to the church house. Oh, we tired of the shooting and we got to get better and da 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 da. But wait a second. Why does that knowledge for them exist? But then you go to the Bantus who might be raised in a different environment. You don't have these problems. But they're looking at you and channeling you to become the best of the best. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's what are you doing with it? Who are you benefiting really? So you see in Kemet, even there, and I'm going to go to the people involved with this, they have sorcery going on. All right. So now, let's go down to who they are. And they, of course, here's what happens. Moses and Aaron, what they do, where was it? And Moses hastened and lifted up the stick, the unkisi, upon the lions. And he loosed them. And Moses and Aaron came to the king's house. The lions, or the Simba, also came with them in joy, and they followed them and rejoiced as a dog rejoices over his master when he comes from the field. So like puppy dogs, but they were like lion cubs, big old lions. And when Pharaoh saw this thing, he was astonished at it. And he was greatly terrified at the report. For their appearance was like the appearance of children of God. Whoa, hold up, freeze. Pharaoh saw Aaron and Moses as Maleki Kongo, angels. This is a problem because he's what? Terrified at what he saw. And Pharaoh said to Moses, "What do you require?" Now let's digress. Okay? Let's digress. Obviously, no Bantu, no Muntu is in Kemet right now with this ability because when they show up, it's like, whoa, who is this? So what does that mean? We are devoid of power at this time, even though we are the children of Isolele. Something that is even happening right now in this world. Who is responsible for that? Remember, in the time that we came into Kemet, we were not the slaves. Yosephu was a powerful man, did many things. How did that knowledge disappear? Gatekeepers. gatekeepers started to retract the knowledge of what was being taught to us. This is control, people. The Pharaoh that came that didn't remember Yosef had to take away the understanding of who we are in order to enslave us. How did they do it in this land? The slave Bible. Even the own Bible that they had that was still wrong, they gave us a dumbed down version of that. So obviously, there was stuff in that Bible that concerned them about us knowing the truth. And the pastors and the leaders of the assemblies that would eventually be started had to keep it that way. This is the boule of the time. Those who were lifted up and controlled the knowledge. Still do. Won't teach the truth. And this is global. They know. That is why someone like Simon Toko, who demonstrated power. Who is this guy? What is he doing? He's talking to animals, just like Mosi. He's doing all this type of stuff. Who is this guy? Where is his knowledge coming from? We didn't teach them this. How did he call down the Mwanda Velila? We didn't teach them that. Whenever someone comes with abilities, the goal is to suppress it. They did that. Threatening, intimidating. There were people who had power that came into this land, but what did they do? Come to our side. And they did. That happened even then. You cannot enslave people with power unless you use people with power. This is when the Mosai said, I gave them over to the knowledge. How did they get it? They took it from us. They tricked us out of it. Here, we gave it to our lovers. Hosea. Here you go. We do it like this. We do it like that. Oh, they came and like y'all talks about all the time. They came and studied everything we did and asked questions, and we gave them the knowledge. Here you go. Now they can what? We control it, and we give it back to them how we see fit. And their job, even according to the scriptures, was to teach us to come back to the Most High. But they said, no. See, that ain't going to work. Their gods said, that's not going to work. The deities that they serve, that's not going to work. Control it. Teach your people that they are the gods. That's what they did. That they are the ones that speak on behalf of the Most High, that they worship the true Messiah. Like you've been doing all this time in Europe and in Asia. because they sit on wealth upon wealth upon wealth that's just sitting there. And look at you, broken and broke, no money. This is how the kings rose in Europe. They don't know. This is how the kingdoms began to prosper. Because they were sitting there gathering it up by the truckloads and shipping it off to their country. Jewels, everything they could find. Anywhere they could find, because anywhere we put the foot, because we were scattered on other places too. They saw this. Whoa, look at this. We were scattered through the Muslim slave trade, through the Roman slave trade, which they did have. And there were people in different pockets that they sat on wealth. And the role was, we need the land. Because where they are, we control the wealth. Remove the knowledge of their existence and replace them in any means necessary. Replace them. Okay? And whatever knowledge they have, we control it and burn it so others can't see that might happenly come across it. Even our own people, they can't know what we're doing. Limit access. So now, as we come into this awakening of the Bana Betu, the Bana Betu, the Bana Isolele, there are those who were able to keep much of the knowledge. It's not all completed. But the rest has to come through revelation of the Mwandan Velada, the Mwandan Semi, through Yesaya. Because the scrolls came out of us. Now it was trapped. No more connection, no more flow. Because we went into captivity. The flow was cut off. That's what happens with us. The immortal beings that continue to go forward with those who have the Holy Spirit. Not everybody got the Holy Spirit. That is why David said, you are gods. You are gods. But you choose to live as lesser than yourself. This is why the world said, we know who they are, but they can't know who they are. So they will learn what we condition them to know. And this is what happened. Till eventually, the world that they created for you is the world you thought the way it is. And you did everything that they wanted through the way that they presented it. Oh, you must defend this land. You must defend this. You must know this. You must become like this. This is what makes you a great American, a great Russian, a great Englishman, a great Frenchman. Wherever they put you, a great Chinese, because we got some people there, a great Brazilian, whatever they called it. You had to obtain that level. So getting back to the book of Joshua. Here we go. What do you require? They answered him, the Benan Zombie of the Hebrew, but it was the word Hebrew didn't exist in the time of Kamata. I'm telling you that. The Benan Zombie of the Bana Congo has sent us to thee to say, send forth my people that they may serve me. So there's a distinction. There's always been a distinction about the Most High's people, who they are and who they are not. Okay? And Pharaoh said to Moses, what do you require? Okay? No, wait. And then the Pharaoh heard these words. He was greatly terrified. Hey, hold up. He was greatly terrified before them. And he said to them, go today and come back tomorrow, that they do according to the word of the king. And when they had gone, Pharaoh said to Balaam, Balaam right now is the spirit of many places today, okay? The magician, and said to Janus and Jambres, you just had January. This is what January is named after. And then Jamboree is Jambres. And his sons, to all the magicians and conjurers and counselors who belong to the king, that they all came and sat before the king. And the king told them all the words Moses and his brother Aaron had spoken to him. And the magicians said to the king, but how came the men to thee on account of the lions who were confined at the gate? And the king said, because they lifted up the rod against the lions and loosened them, and came to me, and the lions all rejoiced as them as a dog rejoices to meet the master. And Balaam, the son of Beor, magician, answered the king, saying, now, magicians, this is alchemy, by the way. These are none else than magicians like ourselves. Okay? Now, where do we see this? When Kuswa Kongo Yesaya started casting out demons, what did they say? You are a sorcerer. You cast out demons in the name of Balaam. Because power has to recognize power. Wait a minute. You're a sorcerer. So Aaron, they were terrified to see these men. So what did they look like to them? Like Malekis, like the Most High, like angelic beings. That when they came in their presence to make a Pharaoh terrified, remember, the Pharaoh was God in Egypt. He was a God figure. He was the highest with the priests. And he was terrified. This is the ingredient we're all missing when it comes to the freedom of our people. You must make the leadership of this world tremble. Who is this that has come before us? Who taught you your knowledge? Where does it come from? Who do you speak? Does any Christian make Biden shake in his knees when they come into his presence? Does any Christian make Putin or President Ping, whatever, I can't remember his name, any one of these leaders? There we go. Any one of these leaders, when they see you, do they shake? Who is this guy? Because when they saw Simon Toko, oh, did they quake. They wanted to kill this man. Like, we can't let people know. He made us look like idiots out here. Kimbangu. We're supposed to represent the kingdom, and they exposed us. This is why the knowledge of yourself and any of the other, that's how they said, anyway, these men were coming to bring the knowledge back to the Most High's people, and that was a no-no. You can't do that. Who are these people? Threat. Let's continue. None therefore send to them and let them come, and we will try them. And the king did so. So let me tell you what's getting ready to happen here that y'all don't even know about. You're gonna have, now remember whose power they're working under. The harlot spirit, the witchcraft. You're gonna have the man of sin come. And there are going to be those of us who are going to be able to do more than him. We're going to be trying to get Isolele out of here. Who are you? Who sent you? Is what he's going to ask you. He's going to do all of his lying signs and wonders. You're going to do yours. Oh, these men are charlatans. It's going to happen. They cast out by Beelzebub. Just like what happened to Isaiah. Oh, these are false prophets. These are the ones we spoke about in the Bible. Do not go here. Do not go there. Christianity is dumbed down to this because they don't even know that they are worshiping the witchcraft of Balaam and Beor already. So when you come with power, oh, this is witchcraft, this is sorcery. Lack of knowledge is what the world has been given by those who are operating in the sorcery. Just like you see here. Okay? So now, therefore give a wonder or sign in this matter, and then the words which you speak shall be believed. Okay, so they're being tested. And Aaron hastened and threw up the rod before Pharaoh, and the rod turns into a serpent. And the sorcerers that saw cast their rods down, and they became serpents. So what is the lesson we're learning by this? Even when you come as Tatanzambi Umpungu Talendo in the flesh, they don't care. They're going to test you. They want to see, who are you really? They put Isaiah to the test. Always, Pharisees, Sadducees coming to him. How do you do this? What do you do this? What does this mean? Put you to the test. So whomever is going to be here to bring us back home, who are you? Who sent you? We can do that too. We can do that too. Elijah even said, the false Messiah will do everything but one. He cannot raise the dead. That's why when the Most High brought death upon Kamata with the firstborn, it shook them because no sorcerer could reverse that. Oh, but don't think they didn't learn their lesson. They always learn. They're going to find a way to undo that mistake. This is why the Most High's power will be increased in these days. Everything that they have done to us in the past, they remember how we got out of it. They know. This is why they made it to where it was supposed to be foolproof. You will never get out of this trap. We set it up good. You won't know nothing. Oh, but they forget who the God of creation is. That's when I wrote the book, The Forgotten Being. Oh, they forgot. They forgot who he is. We forgot who he is. You've minimized him to where you don't know what you don't know. He got something because he saw this way back when the serpent deceived Adama. All of this. He even gave Bana the whole spectrum from the beginning to the end. Bana saw it. Abraham saw the end. He said, oh, watch what your people going to do. He taught, Yesiah did the same thing. Kuswa, he saw the beginning and the end. Went to the future. Went to the past. Oh, yeah. Saw it. See, when you are with the Tatanzambi and Pungu, in spirit and in truth, you will know how it was started and you know how it's going to end. You may not know the day or the time or the season, but you will witness it. This is why you know on the Congo cosmogram how people's lives are going to play out from the time that they're born to the time that they die. This is what you saw. This is what the Holy Spirit will begin to reveal to you with power. This person's going to do this, and this, and this. That knowledge is a threat to those who also have foresight. This person's going to do this, and this. You got to stop it. Here he comes. Here she comes. Why do you think there was a Messiah figure before the other one came? You think they didn't know he was coming? They had to deceive you in the past, so when you got to the future, you worshiping Tammuz still. We always did that. Hard-headed. But when Yesiah showed up, hey, who is this guy? Anybody that goes against what you're supposed to know Just like what happened with Moses and Aaron was a problem. A problem that they don't like. Because why? Because life is about control. You lose control, you lose the power, you lose the wealth, you lose the kingdom. Everything goes down. This is what's happening now. And they told you there's going to come a time when our kingdom's going to come to an end. But we're going down with a fight, though. They already have said this. You want to know where we are right now with this awakening? We on the bridge where the apes were fighting the police in the Planet of the Apes that they made. This is where we are right now. We on the bridge trying to get to the wilderness. And they have the resistance up. Because that movie is about us. We woke up with the Bantus. Now we're trying to get to the wilderness. That's why they're doing all the stuff with Africa right now. That's the bridge in the movie. We're trying to get to the wilderness. They're like, oh, I don't think so. Shut this down. Shut that down. You over there, puppet, you shut this down. You boule, you whatever you are. Let's roll with it. Oh, but the Most High is working. It's going to, look what's happening already. He has sounded the alarm that this ain't going to go down. You're not going to win this battle. Because look what happened. Did they lose or did they make it to the wilderness? They made it to the wilderness. They know we're going to make it to the wilderness. But even in the last movie, they still going to try to fight to destroy Ape City. The donkeys, and they got the donkeys over there, like he called them. You are donkey. You are ape, as he said, but it's really Bakongo. You're a Bakongo Bantu, but you let them call you donkey. That was the mockery of Kuswa Congo right there. That was Isaiah. That was the Benin Zombie that they hate so much. The lawgiver, as he was called in 1968. Knowledge. This is why when we hear these things, when we teach these things, when we know these things, it's just like, just to give you an example, I have taught children or work, not substituted mostly, in 12th grade. I have also worked with kids, okay, in preschool. Kids in preschool will understand life differently, you see what I mean, than kids in high school. So the conversation cannot be the same. Kuswa Congo could talk to the little child and also talk to the officer, the leadership, and still get the message across for those that would understand it. Remember when he talked to the lady at the well, all he said was, "I'd like some water." And she said, "You are Bana or Yaounde, by the way, and I am a Samaritan or Canaanite." Oh no, Samaritan. She's a Samaritan. We don't associate. Even then there was division, people. We don't associate. You're asking me for water? If you knew who was asking, he said, then you would right away. But he said, go and tell your husband, I'm not married. You see, he used his knowledge and his wisdom to wow someone in the simplest way by letting her know that he knew something that she never told him. Why is that significant? Because you will gain more understanding from people by revealing the Most High in ways that only they can comprehend. That's important. But the gatekeepers, remember this, the gatekeepers are going to try to block you. Just to put it in the movie, there were black police officers on the bridge fighting against the apes, right? But they didn't want you to see that connection. Fighting their own kind, really. But they didn't let you know that in the movie. Trying to get to the wilderness, and you trying to keep us here. Oh, no, no, no. We love it. We're not leaving. Let me go back to Joshua real quick. I'm not trying to go too much longer. Let's go to what happened when the Most High told him, if you don't want to leave, you stay here. It's the part where and Tatanzambi sent darkness upon Kemet. The whole land of Kamata and Pathros became dark for 3 days, so that a man could not see his hand when he lifted it to his mouth. And at that time died many of the people of Isolele, who had rebelled against Tatanzambi, who would not hearken to Moses and Aaron and believe not in them that Akongo had sent them, and who had said, we will not go forth from Kamata, lest we perish with hunger in a desolate wilderness, and who would not hearken unto the voice of Moses. And Tatanzambi plagued them in the 3 days of darkness, and Isolele buried them in those days without the knowing of them or rejoicing over them. So what happened? We have people right now, gatekeepers. They say, man, what you talking about is garbage. This stuff you're talking about is witchcraft. It's demonic. We know who we worship. We worship Jesus Christ. When they don't even know, this is how they secretly brought you to Egypt under Horus. Helios Christos from the Greek. You're serving the same God, Bana Betu, that enslaved you people, and then you have those who are proud to believe in those gods again. The English language has nearly every Egyptian god's name in it. And you don't even know that you say it every day. You honor pharaohs among the street corners. You honor pharaohs in your words, and you don't even know. Knowledge is kept from those who are destroyed, as the Most High said. You will be destroyed in the lack of your knowledge. If you rejected the knowledge, I shall reject thee. So don't be surprised that there's people you're talking to. They weren't meant for the knowledge. Because now they have rejected it. There's a remnant for a reason. Not everybody is going to walk out into the wilderness. And like the movie showed you, they will stand there and fight to keep you from going. And they will work with the system that wants to keep you under the control of their power, manipulated, teaching you things that's not even true. The weather is controlled by angels. The ground is controlled by angels. That's how Uzziah controlled it. Spirits of the Most High, spirits of Shaitani. But they're teaching you the witchcraft of science, alchemy. There's good and bad to it. The Most High's is good, theirs is bad. You saw the example with the snakes. When the Most High turned his snake into a snake, that was the good alchemy. When they threw theirs down, incantation, sorcery, coming from Shaitani, right? But what did that serpent do? It conquered theirs. Meaning, the Most High and his spirit will overcome any sorcery that they have done to us. You just have to believe in it. Simple. The Most High is very simple. We make him complicated. Let him reveal the knowledge, what you seek to overcome the sorcery that's been done to you. Because they're using our sorcery. Or if you want to call it that. Against us. That's what Egypt was doing. The knowledge that Yosef taught, they turned it against us. And enslaved us. To the point where now You actually have remorse for the people who weren't even there like that. That's how bad this sorcery is. And they spellbound in you and the world. But their time is up. And they know it. But they don't tell you. You got to know. You see, they turn it on each other themselves. You don't even know that. Where do you think a lot of this knowledge is coming from all of a sudden? We didn't have it. Some of us, much of it's been revealed from the Most High, but they also saying, hey, we know you're right. These guys up here, they lying to us. We know. Because there's a remnant of nations, people. They will say, we have inherited lies from our forefathers. Here, this is yours. And they will bring you back into your land. Says that. But there's going to be a battle. They called it the War of the Planet of the Apes in the mockery. Big war coming. But the remnant survived though, didn't they? Hallelujah. Kim. All right, family. You know, here in the diaspora, there's one thing you got to realize. We will leave. We've already started to go. There were people who trickled out even in those days. But the majority of us will leave when the power manifests to those who keep you captive. And they must shake at the presence of the Most High is here. Only then will you see the movement of the people. Okay? Nzola Kwingi, Nsambololo, Inaweza ya Kongo Kutwala, Yahweh Kongo. And continue to focus because they've gotten way better at the lying signs and wonder. If you haven't seen it in this fake sky, okay, and the concept of what they're teaching in science, the sorcery has improved itself. They've gotten way better at the deception. And you must come out of it. Ingeta Sambolo, Zola Queen.